Hello and welcome to Board Stupid. My name's Wayne.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Matt.
We didn't have an order.
Rob's back.
I'm back, or have I ever left? That's the question.
No, he's been locked in Matt's cupboard until this video.
It's a cool cupboard.
Yeah. Actually, no, we took him in our suitcase to Spiel.
Yeah, to Spiel, and then brought it back.
Unzipped occasionally, made me peek out, and then shut me back
Look
in.
at the fancy things, Rob. Back in the case you go. And this is our end of Spiel season special.
Yes, the end of Spiel-tacular.
The end of the Spiel-tacular. And it has been a spectacular Spiel season. I mean,
It has.
unreal. Our first one as a channel. It was our first birthday, Matt.
Yes, it
Happy
was.
birthday, guys.
Thank
Happy
you very much.
birthday.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to all the people that we met that actually we managed to give them a hug and take photos and all that stuff. That is still weird, very weird to us, but hey, I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you all. And it was Rob's first time at Spiel.
My
as well.
first ever Spiel, hence my shell-shock look.
Yeah, you're like, woo, baby. Let's start with a couple of statistics, and then what we'll do is I'll ask you a few questions, Rob, about your experience, and then we'll talk about our highlights for the folks at home. So this was at the Spiel Messe, the Messeplatz, which was over 69,500 square meters of space, which is enormous, covering 6 ginormous halls, with one of them as essentially a giant holding pen for everyone to go in. There were 200,000 visitors over the weekend, limited to 50,000 people per day, and boy gosh did we feel it, with around 1,500 new products from 80 different countries.
Quite a lot.
This is, to give you a sense of the scale of the event, it's like nothing else on the planet.
No, that's it. I have never seen anything. I've done UKGE numerous times. This was something else. It made UKGE look like a little garage sale.
Kind of. Even if UKG is growing every year, so I don't know, maybe one day, but yeah, the comparison is kind of harsh for UKG. But again, the Spiel one is the global home. The global home of board games. And actually what the guys at UKG are doing, getting almost there. I'll see like in, I don't know, 5 years time maybe.
I think it's interesting. I think certainly for anyone who's at UKG this year, it was so busy. That Saturday in particular was crazy busy. And I think there were a lot of people that I heard saying this was like what Spiel was like 10 years ago. So it's getting there. One day.
Well, as we know, UK Games Expo is the third biggest one in the world, and Spiel is the first biggest. And the jump between third and first, you feel it. And I think me and you, Matt, we both noticed that on the Thursday, which is traditionally quite quiet, was absolutely rammed because this year Spiel was on a German public holiday.
On a bank holiday,
so everyone in Germany that wanted to go to Spiel did what I would have done, which is take the Friday off as well, and have a nice long weekend and spend the whole thing at Spiel. And it was rammed every single day.
It was. We felt it because it was not as nice. Because normally the first day is the one where you can go around and see more things. While today it was basically, on the Thursday this year was as of a Friday. They sold every single tickets for the Thursday, the Friday, and the Saturday.
And the 4-day ticket.
And the 4-day tickets. And I'm not really sure if it's going to happen again next year, just because the bank holiday brought so many more people on the first couple of days. And I'm glad if it doesn't happen again.
They are moving it to the end of the month in 2025.
Right,
So that should avoid that issue. But we will see. As I said, Rob, it's Matt's second Spiel. It's my third, but your first.
My first,
What were your impressions as well? Because you were going kind of in a work capacity, right?
Yes, that's right. So I was there predominantly in a work capacity. I had a lot of, it's the one time of the year that all our publishers are under one roof. So it's most of our publishers are European, and then Oink in Japan, which means that everyone is there, which meant it was in and out of meetings a lot, which was great because I got to see lots of new games, some very exciting stuff. No spoilers yet. One day. But yeah, on a personal level, being into games for so many years, it's one of those things where Essen is like one of those pilgrimages you just have to do.
It's the Mecca.
It is the Mecca, and that was it. So I for me, I had a lot in my head preparing myself kind of to go there, see what it was all about on that personal level as well, and it did not disappoint me. It's one of those things where,
that's cool to know.
I think coming back to your point about the 6 halls, I think one of my Essen moments was that there's sort of, there are 6 halls, of which most of them are the size of, if you've been to UKG, the size of one of the UKG halls. Walking into one which is hall 3, I was like, "What the heck? This is like this. This isn't a normal hall.
No.
This is like it was like a football stadium sized. You had to like stand on tiptoes and just kind of peek to try and see the end of the hall.
Yeah,
it was so long.
It's maniac that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, all 3 is where the hobby games are. So all the big publisher, all the more like complex games are, and it's where everybody kind of like want to be and go there for demoing. And there is that things on the door of all 3 that is that trap, because it's like
it's a crush.
They need to review that thing, so it's
a little bit much.
I'm not sure health and safety what would have said.
Well, that's why they had to limit it to 50,000 a day. But even that, it's like, wow. And here's just a little bit of context behind that. Back in the before times, there wasn't quite as much organisation as to what publisher or what stand or what type of game went where. But recently, the organisation behind International Spieltag, has decided to group different games by different halls or different types of games. And so you've got hobby games in hall 3, and that's what we might think of as board gamers, hobbyists, all of those sort of games that you have probably in your Kallaxes. They would probably be in hall 3. And then you had a hall specifically for wargaming and all of the stuff that goes along with that, like every type of terrain and paint. And then you had a hall for like, specifically more like indie style stuff and stuff imported from Asia and Asian publishers and things like that, and maybe small card games. Actually, I quite like the fact that it's organised by section, kind of. It is quite nice in that way.
Definitely.
It is, but the old way, you kind of like, you were walking around and finding a lot of surprises.
That is true.
While now it's very much, there are a few things like, in old 2, where the more like the kids games are for the family games. There was still like some nice games that we found out just on the last day, because it was like we're not really walking that hole much because there's not much for us to go in there. But
you're less likely to find something by accident.
Because
if you're in the hobby games, you're going to find hobby games.
Yeah.
You're not going to accidentally stumble on something that you might think, this is really cool, let's try it. And that is a bit of a shame, I guess. But I still like the fact that it is well organised.
Yeah, and it's something that I think I spent a bit of time just wandering, like you're saying, just wandering from hall to hall through the different aisles. I mean, one of the things I think that I noticed as well is that obviously Germany is kind of one of the homes of modern board games, and I think that really shows in just how much effort the publishers put in as well. I think if you compare it, I think there are a few stands I saw where the UKG equivalent would have been like a table space with a banner behind them showcasing a game or 2. And then you get to their stand at Essen, and it was like hanging banners out the wazoo, coming down with like, some sort of animatronic that was just dancing all the way, and then like showcasing all these games in like
fireworks,
neon lights and everything. I was like, what is going on?
But we saw that few publishers prefer not to go to UKG and Gen Con and just go a Spiel, because I think they got anyway more visibility there, and they can sell a lot there. And again, all these shows are they're not cheap for as a publisher. So they prefer just to go
to focus
at a Spiel, because they know they're gonna have 50,000 people every day.
It's the biggest one, right?
Yeah, it's definitely something I noticed as well. For me, as I say, being on that kind of business side of things and doing a lot of meetings with publishers and things like that, it was the closest to all of the kind of events and expos I go to. It was the closest to being both kind of business to business and business to consumer. As
a blend in between.
A real blend, It was like, I think UKG is 99% B2C. I go to things like Toy Fair in London, which is very much a B2B show. And then this was a real blend in the sense that, you have plenty of, you've got gamers wandering in the halls, checking out the latest stuff, playing the latest stuff. But all the kind of publishers will have their own little like meeting rooms that have been set up. And literally you open a door and go into a kind of office that's been set up for just the weekend. And you're having meetings in those. And it's like,
got manufacturers there.
Yeah, exactly. You got the manufacturers,
logistics partners, all sorts.
The people that are thinking about making a game can go there and talk to the Chinese or the Asian manufacturer. And those little office that you say, those were really nice because those were the only moment that we could sit there.
Yeah. Everyone's got like sweets that they throw at you and like drinks that are hopefully there for you.
So thanks to everyone that invited us in the offices because that was really
a nice break from the class.
Yeah, but it's definitely, I think, as well for like people who are going with game ideas, like you're saying, Matt. I saw people pitching. So shout out to Chris Prescott who did Zuli and Moving Wild, Molehill Meadows. So he was pitching his kind of latest designs to publishers as well. So it's a great space, I think, to go if you've got something you want to showcase. And I think, like you're saying, if you're going to go to one show, it
must be there.
And we saw that with Owen Davey from Owen Davey Games doing Fame and Fable. It's an indie game that we first saw. Owen's from Worthing, our town, and he was there with his own stall at Spiel, doing incredibly well.
Yeah, we were very happy about it.
Yeah, he looked pretty happy about it and was very full. So something to note. Sometimes you have to speculate a little bit to get that exposure.
It is a gamble, especially for an indie publisher, because he's having to spend thousands of euros or pound or whatever it is, because that's what it costs. On top of that, your travel, your accommodation, that is not cheap in Essen, that period.
So it's thing being there as well.
Speaking with few of them, we know more or less how much the square meters cost, and it's not a joke. So for them to invest all that money hoping to be seen is a big gamble,
probably taking a loss on purpose, right? Just to be there,
push it.
But we saw that actually works for most of them, because you get to show your games to everyone, not just the people, the press, the other publishers that might. A bigger publisher that might look at the more indie ones to see what deal can be made. We heard, we can't probably say it, but one of the small indie publisher that we follow, that we know very well, they received a few offers because they made a very, very good game.
Product,
and they managed to get kind of like initial deals with bigger publishers. It's a
great opportunity for that. So there's an overview of, I suppose, the business side of it, which is very interesting and very exciting. Let's talk instead from the front end. As going in there as gamers. Let's talk a little bit about some highlights there, because I know, Rob, you were probably tied up in meetings for most of it. And actually, weirdly enough, so were me and Matt.
You guys were meeting a lot of people, interviews and everything.
Which was wonderful. But we did get to take a look at some games. So let's go this way down the line. Do you want to start with a highlight of anything that you played?
I would say that Tikal Legends, it must be on top of the list for me.
You'll see it on a few videos that we're going to do or have released at this point.
It's a fantastic adventure games that mix adventure, exploration, ball control, area majorities, and there is a lot in that drafting with the tile mechanisms. It's a fantastic game.
Up to 11. It really does. It's so crunchy.
And the table presence of the game is magnificent. It's a big board with all the minis for the pyramids that you actually build, that you actually discover one level at the time, because you're basically it's not you're building it, you're cutting the jungle around. It just, the table presence was great, and it plays very, very smoothly. You can do it still based like the original one on action points per player, but it's actually really smooth. It's not like that complicated, or there are options that you can do with your action points, but all in a very natural and
adding the whole draft to the whole game gives so many more decisions to make. I mean, it's really adds just another level.
You got that thing, because you're drafting for how many points you're going to have next turn. You're drafting which style you want to get. You're drafting who's going to be the next first player.
Or the action cards.
Or the action cards. It's
special cards.
I can't wait to have that one and play it.
It was that's a great highlight.
It's a beautiful thing of like taking these games that are age-old classics and giving them that fresh lick of paint, like Ra, you know, the recent edition of Ra and things like that, and see that.
I did back the new Ra because it looks amazing.
But even more than that, I mean, this is even more than a reprint, right? And this is what me and Matt have dubbed the OG revival, where you're getting the original designer to then take the design, change it to modern sensibilities, and bring you a new game. Which is. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's a good game. It's a good game.
Yeah, it is
forever.
When it's the original designer as well, going back and not being, because maybe it's like, oh, I really wanted to add these things to the game. At the time, was not.
Well, like Mr. Kiesling has developed this in 1998. Imagine all the stuff he's learned in the past.
I want to tweak this.
So it's an amazing great thing.
I think there's a lovely space as well where aesthetic has come in a way that I think wasn't necessarily looked at in the same way before. I think there are a couple of things around that I think that are so important. First of all, it's like pitching a game to people who aren't necessarily gamers. You know, with the utmost love, if I get one of the like old German games out and I'm like, hey guys, want to come play this? People are like, you know,
maybe
I love you, Hansa Teutonica, but man, you are a struggle to get to the table.
You are pretty brown.
You're pretty brown. And I think the other thing though is the kind of UX UI of game design. You know, and I'm talking that the how intuitive can you make a game when you just look at the board. You look at maybe a small player reference sheet and you can just get playing. You don't need to kind of constantly have rules reinforced. And I think there's a lot of learning that's happened around that over recent years, over the last decade when it comes to game design and just, I'm talking design from a graphic design perspective. It's like
the playability of a game. How quickly can I recognize what I need to be doing
and stay in that flow rather than having to constantly reference
back to this book or the other book. 100% right. Rob, what about you? Any highlight that you want to pick out for something that you played?
I'm going to do my two highlights, which are totally opposite on the end of the spectrum. So the newest game I played, which was my highlight, was Molly House. I had the pleasure of playing Molly House, which is the new game from Whirligig Games. It's Cole Whirly's design, and he had his brother there, Drew, who taught the game, and it was amazing. It was great. It was, I think, if you're into Cole Whirly games, which I very much am, you're gonna love it. It's taken, you know, it's taken systems that are age old. Roll and move is in the game. Roll and move. Can you believe it? But the essence of the game is it's set in kind of pre-Victorian London when LGBTQ plus communities were pushed to the sidelines, as you can imagine, and they would host kind of festivities and parties, basically, in what are called molly houses. And so what you are doing is kind of going around the streets of London, collecting cards into your hand, and occasionally hosting these festivities. And that's where the game really sort of spices up, because you have a cooperative party that you start kind of dealing cards into. And it's almost like a poker hand style thing. So you're chucking cards in one at a time to build better and better festivities. And certain people are kind of heads of the party, as it were, who are going to get the fame and fortune that comes with running a great party. But also that backfires and kind of develops infamy. And one of the great things about it is that some of the cards are just inherently, I don't want to say bad, but they are kind of people that you wouldn't want at the party. They're informers. They're informers who are going to maybe rat on the molly house to the police and things like that, which means that there's just this beautiful thing of like people being like, I can't deal any other cards into it, so I'm just going to chuck this in. And then there's like a genuine like moment where, as if you were hosting a party and it was about to get...
What did you invite that?
You invited this guy.
Oh my God.
Honestly, it's beautiful because it's just like, it genuinely captures that feeling of things are about to get raucous and we're going to have this amazing party, and we're building up to, we're going from just a casual dance to like a full-blown... So they would do christenings, for example, with objects that were, you know, obviously, you know, having babies was not possible. So they'd christen other things as if it was their child and things like that. So it would be like building up towards a christening, and then it would be like, Mr. Davidson's here. We're gonna have to call it all off. It's like, who invited Mr. Davidson? It's like, and it's just this beautiful thing. It develops these little, like, you know, these narratives that come out of it, but also this education of the history.
That's really that's really nice. We saw now there've been a few games now that are trying to bring the social or help them mental health and into gaming. So they got that kind of like trying to bring those problems to the people, to show those problems to the people as well, so make them aware of this kind of stuff, and doing it through a game. I find that is
it's great. It's a whole untapped potential of creativity.
It is
breaking into the history of all of that. It's wonderful.
And I think my other end of the scale, which I'll do, is the is a game 1991's. Hey, you guys did your Spiel, your Spiel. Your Spiel des Jahres
winner.
Yeah, you went through. So 1991 was the runner-up.
Yes.
Game called Bauer Schlau.
Nice.
Bauer Schlau, and it was freaking amazing. So one thing to have a look at with Essen, there is a kind of German second-hand games bargain bin thing, and Board Game Geek have done a fantastic video actually of them just trawling this, and they show shelves upon shelves stacked with German stuff from the 80s and things like that. So. And I think it's Eric from Board Game Geek. He's very, very, very knowledgeable, which means he's like picking out these obscure games and telling people all about it. And it's like, how do you know this stuff? But Bauer Schlau was one that was picked up for €5, and I played with some friends, and it was crazy. It was so good. It was my game of the show, 1991.
It's the movers game? Or?
No, that was Pack and Beers, which is another one that came from there. But this Bauer Schlau was a game where you are kind of collaboratively building. So you have like a plot of land, basically. And over the course of the game, you're carving that up into your own area, which you're separating with fences. But the thing with this is you don't have enough fences to just build your own plot of land and be done with it, which means you have to collaborate with the players to your left and right to be like, we need to finish this fence. And if you don't finish a fence, if you don't get your own segmented area, you instantly lose the game at the end. So you have to finish your own segmented area, which means you're just working with your players on the left and right to just kind of build this fence out. But the system, the points come from these sheep. So you're putting sheep into the board. And these hilariously go face down anywhere they're placed. And they can be turned over or dragged around by a sheepdog that's just roaming the board, which means that, and some of them are positive points and some of them are negative points. So you've got this whole thing going on where there are all these face down tokens and you're second guessing, has Wayne put a really bad sheep in my area? Or is he double bluffing me and he wants me to move this back into his area to save him time and to save him turns? But then I'm also building this freaking fence with you, which means that I'm like, maybe I just build the fence around this sheep and just shove it over to Wayne and just let him do it.
Let him deal with the sheep.
Yeah, it's like it was so like
it's like a cooperative Agricola with the movement.
Very, very fast. And like and again, I was playing this with Drew Welly of Welly Games, and anyone who's played Paxmere, John Company, etc., knows the amount of negotiation that is in those games. This was presenting like negotiation opportunities like nothing else I played, where you're just like, Wayne, you need to like finish this fence, or we are both going to lose. Just finish the fence. And you're like, no, I need to do the fence on the other side. And then I've got this stupid -point sheep in my area that I need to get rid of. And it's just like, it was like fiery negotiation about basically building a garden wall. Anyone who's ever had arguments about fences at home in their gardens,
there you go, mate.
This is the game.
That is the game
that will capture those sensations. Yeah, it's amazing. Bauer Schlau.
Talking about sheep.
Yeah,
there we go.
Juno came to say hello.
Hello, Juno. Juno didn't come to Spiel. I want to shout out the fact that you can go and play any number of amazing indie games. Right, we've already talked about the Tikal Legend from Super Meeple, so that's going to be a nice giant crowdfunding campaign. Talked about some of the old school stuff that you can get. You can get loads of. We should have picked up a copy of Unreich Bright.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. Yeah, we definitely want to play that.
Yeah, we'll try that next year. And I'm going to shout out the fact that you can play any number of indie games. And we played a game called Beyond the Sun. No, not Beyond the Sun. Under Our Sun. Sorry, Under Our Sun. Beyond the Sun. Totally different game. Under Our Sun. And it is a wonderful game. I mean, this is because me and Matt are fans of Dead of Winter, and it's all out of fashion now, but I still love that game. This, I think, takes that concept and I think makes it probably better, just in terms of the way that it does its survival, but not in a horror way. But it's still like you've got a potential backstabber, like in Dead of Winter. But this time in a post-apocalyptic way, where the sun is beating down and you constantly have to find water, and then you're going to be fighting over water, and then someone who may be a backstabber may be hoarding all of the water from you, and then trying to work out are you really backstabbing or are you just thirsty? And that whole side of it just seems, I think, really interesting to me. In a really robust adventure game. Kind of almost a throwback design. Action points. With your action points, you can do these things. But all of the things that you do are all related to survival. I'm either fighting or I'm trying to crack this case open to try and find what's in it, or I'm going to slap this guy around the head with a crowbar. Or I need to build a tent and then shelter from sun, and then you have to sleep at night because bad stuff comes out at night. So if you don't have a tent ready, then it's all going to go pretty bad. I thought it was a really amazing experience, and it's such an amazing product.
The production of the game is amazing.
For a first time,
seeing it from a completely indie publisher. It's a couple of guys that put their effort together and spend the last 4 or 5 years to develop this game, and then seeing there on the table playing it, and we had a lot of fun playing the game, and just like
super thematic, really fun. Like it gave me almost a little bit of a nostalgia for things like Dead of Winter, but done really well. With some, it's great.
That system of in sort of semi-co-op games of having like a personal selfish objective, I feel is so underutilized. It feels like a lot of the sort of semi-co-ops, like Unfathomable and Nemesis, it's like, I'm either outright good and I'm doing some weird thing, or I'm just a traitor and I'm doing something. Whereas having something that's like, no, I am with the team. I just have a reason that I really need to hoard extra amounts of water.
All the games goes around. Each player needs to survive, because otherwise that's the end of the game, or you need to revive them. But the resources are so limited because he's in a kind of like Fallout style, but
and I think it's more natural as well. So it's not like you're given a forced objective. You by the default of the game design, you are selfish.
You need to be selfish.
You don't want to die. That's the thing.
So that's and it's sort of it's so organic in the way it breeds distrust. It can be really fun, and you can play it. We played because the demo that we played was totally co-op.
Right.
But as we were doing it, we had the commentary from the designers going, well, this could have been this could have been this. And if you're playing semi-co-op, then you'd be potentially acting this way. Or you can lead people into this area where they might get attacked. And then, sorry, guys, I was just trying to get water for everybody because otherwise this guy's going to... So it was a really organic feeling experience. And I had a great time. And it was great.
And fun. Because that's the most important thing. We saw a lot of amazing games. There are... very tinkery and
the cutting edge of this, that, and the other.
And then there are the games that are fun and they're good to play and they're fun. And that I think Under Our Sun is a
great
fun game where you can enjoy around the table with your friends. Yes, absolutely.
From a completely indie publisher. So tremendous achievement from those chaps. In terms of going back then, Rob, do you think you'll be going back next year or no? Or will it be entirely up to...
I think work will have me going back for sure, which is good, which makes life easier.
So I can ask you the next question.
Hit me up.
What would you do differently on a second visit?
What would I do differently on a second visit?
Knowing that you're going there for work and you're limited in that way.
I think one thing. So we stayed a little further out. We stayed in a little town called Duisburg. I'm sorry if I missed.
We stayed, I think, last year.
Okay, yeah. And it was actually the transport was a-okay. I think last trains were about midnight, and we're pretty quick to get there. And I think one night I ended up taking an Uber for and it wasn't too expensive, but it was nonetheless. It was one of those things where I kind of I got that little bit of like envy when I was staying in when I would go and play with some friends in the evening in one of the kind of big hotels, and I had to be the guy who's like,
I need
everyone. So it meant more affordable accommodation, but I think so much of it there's a kind of sense that you're a little bit out of the experience, which I think is probably worth. I think if you're going, it's going to cost more to stay in Essen itself, but I think there is something about feeling connected to that experience and feeling like I'm not clock watching because I don't have to go and get a train, and I can just be with it. It's like
that's what we did differently this year, Rob.
Yeah, because what we decided last year, we saved a little bit on the accommodation. It was kind of like last minute as well, but we ended up paying way more on
renting a car and
or Ubers or stuff like that. While this year, we spent a little bit more in terms of like staying, but then we were like, 10 minutes.
We didn't care about
the
time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just stay wherever, and then we could hang out longer at the, going with the Dark Omen guys, or at the dudes with Mighty Boards, etc., or with chat with you guys.
Shed
We didn't really
party,
worry about
it was,
we have to go home. The only reason we were going home was because we'd been out for like 14 hours playing games.
It's just exhausted.
I'm a bit tired now.
It's full on. It is full on. Yeah, it's definitely
an absolutely full on experience.
Yeah, I think one thing I did do, but I think everyone, if you're going for your first time, you should definitely do. And if you're going for your second time, you didn't do this, you should watch the video that these guys put out about their top tips, because I did it all. I got the comfy footwear, I got the app. I didn't get cash, which actually I missed out on one game that I wanted because I didn't have cash.
Sensible, stupid.
Idiot. But honestly, you guys saved me a lot of pain.
Thank you.
So thank you for that video. It's
you're welcome.
recommended.
Well,
pleasure.
You can do the thing where it pings up somewhere here or something.
It's there.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. It's there, not there, but somewhere over there. But yes, that was a lifesaver. There's a lot of tips. I think Essen is an experience in every way, and it means that a bit of preparation is key, because it's full on. The whole thing is unlike anything else when it comes to
that's board gaming. So that was our roundup for our end of the Spieltacular, end of Spiel season, before we start moving into end of year season.
No, we're going to enter into Spiel 2025 season, no?
No,
we already started. It already started.
Yeah.
Well, because we saw behind closed doors a lot of stuff. There's gonna be Spiel 2025. That we're gonna spill the beans in the net very slowly, because unfortunately some stuff is under embargo, and we don't want. We're all friends, so we want to keep our friends.
Yes. And I don't have money to pay off those companies.
No, exactly.
Or the lawyers that I will need.
No, the NDAs are there for a reason. So
absolutely, Rob, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience.
Thank you ever so much for having me. Yeah,
different perspective as well.
That's it.
And if you liked this video, then you know what to do. Hit the like button. And of course, Matt.
No, let's let Rob say it.
Oh, Rob, what?
Subscribe?
Hit the subscribe.
Oh, subscribe, yeah. Just making sure I got it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, or else.
Check out the rest of our content.
Yeah, check out all of it.
Absolutely. And absolutely check out our Spiel Essen playlist, which you'll find here for everything that we talked about at Spiel Essen 2024. We'll catch you again real soon. Ciao.
Game reviews for you and me. What's to be? Here's what you should play and see.